Hello class, I welcome you all to this session. This session we are in the chapter Forms of Business Organization. We have to discuss the demerits, types of companies, difference between a private company and a public company and a one-person company. What are the demerits of the company? It is complex in its formation. The formation is not as easy as compared to the sole proprietorship or the partnership. It requires the extensive knowledge of legal requirements and procedures that is involved. So you need to know all these things before you start or form a company. The second one is the lack of secrecy. This company has to publish a lot of reports, submit a lot of documents if the authorities require them to do so. So the company has to provide from time to time a lot of information to the office of the registrar of companies, and the published report therefore it cannot maintain the secrecy because of published reports. So public will come to know, or the general third person or competitors may come to know what is the company's business. Secrecy cannot be maintained. The third important demerit is impersonal work environment. See, in company there is a separation of ownership and management. That is, owners are the shareholders of the company and the management is the board of directors who manages the affairs of the company. So there is a separation of ownership and management. This leads to a situation in which there is a lot of effort, that is the lack of efforts as well as personal involvement on the offices of a company. See, you may employ certain people. If the owner is managing the business, the style of management itself would be different. If you hire any person to manage a business, the style of management may be different. So the lack of efforts as well as the personal involvement into the management is a lacking. So this is one important demerit. Then lack of personal touch in management of employees, customers and creditors is also a demerit. The fourth demerit is numerous regulations. There is a legal provisions and compulsions. That is, if you are to do company business, you are an Indian company, you need to follow the Companies Act 2013. Suppose your stocks are listed in the stock market, you need to follow the SEBI guidelines, Securities Exchange Board of India's guidelines, and then you need to follow the Environment Act. You need to follow various legal aspects that has a lot of provisions that needs to be compiled, and it has to be followed. So there is numerous restrictions in the form of audit, voting, filing of reports and preparation of documents, and is required to obtain various certificates from different agencies. So these are all our demerits. The fifth point is delay in decision making. The organizational hierarchy. What is the organizational hierarchy? The pyramid shape of the hierarchy. That is the top management, middle management and the lower level management. So the hierarchy causes a delay in decision making because for everything the lower level management has to ask middle level management in turn should ask the top level management, and then only the approval should come again from top to middle to lower. So this leads to delay in decision making. Then you have the oligarchic management, that is rule by few. A company is a democratic institution wherein the board of directors are representatives of the shareholders who are the owners. Now, all the shareholders cannot manage the affairs of the company. This is for sure. And if all the persons manage also, the management will not be good. So what is to be done? Few people who are elected or who is selected for the board of directors, they alone rule the company. They alone manage the company. The owners have minimal influence in the terms of controlling or running the business, as they are spread all over the country and very small percentage attend the general meeting. And then thus the board of directors have considerable freedom in exercising the power which they use even contrary to the interest of the shareholders. Now this is a problematic area. See, no problem that the board of directors let them manage the affairs of the company. Suppose they use their powers against the shareholders who have the interest, who have invested their valuable money. Okay, money does not come for free. Everyone has to earn that money, and they wanted to multiply that money. That's why they have invested in the company. Suppose the shareholders' interest is not being seen, and the board of directors are selfish and they wanted to make profits, individual profits for their selfish motto. They misuse the power given to them. That is a problematic area. So you can see that in the diagram there are only few people who has the key, who going to rule that particular organization, which is not good. So it has to be transparent, involving all the persons. So this is one major disadvantage, oligarchic management. And seventh one is conflict in interest, that is conflict of interest among various stakeholders. The employees, we may need higher salary, consumers may need high quality products, shareholders with higher returns pose problems in managing the company, as it often becomes difficult to satisfy each diverse interest. Okay, so each person of the persons who are involved with the company have different needs or requirements. So all these persons' requirements cannot be satisfied at all levels. Okay, so this is also a major demerit. The next we are going to move into what are the types of companies. We can see that there is private company, there is a public company, and OPC, that is one person company. Now this is the definition. I want all of you to pay attention. Private company. What is private company? A private company means a company which restricts the right of members to transfer its shares. That is, if I have a share in a private company, I cannot just like that transfer it to some other third person. So the transfer of shares is restricted, okay, by its members. Suppose they want to transfer the share also, it has to be bought by the known person only, not third party. Okay, why this is happening is they don't want to dilute the ownership. So only 10 persons is having, only 10 people are forming a private company. They want to take care of all the decision making. They wanted to do everything that is related to the company. So they wanted to take care of their management capacity. If suppose for example 10 person, they 5 and in that 5 person is transferring the share to some other person, third party, then the ownership will go to those third party, which cannot be acceptable, because it is a private company, it is not a public company. So first one is restricts the right of members to transfer its shares. The second one is has a minimum of 2 and maximum of 200 members. So the number is minimum 2 people can start a private company, maximum 200 people, members, that is the shareholders, can be a part of private company, excluding the present and past employees. Sometimes what happen, private company can allot shares to its existing employees or past employees who are retired. So in that case, this numbering will not include those employees. Okay, so that is called as excluding the present and past employees. Then the third one, it does not invite public to subscribe to its securities. Let it be the shares or let it be the debentures. Debentures are nothing but loans. Okay, so if the company needs fund, other way to raise funds is by loan. So loan is otherwise called as debentures when it is issued to the general public. Okay, so does not invite public to subscribe to its securities. And the name of the private limited company should end by private limited. Okay, for example, Zebronic India Private Company or Private Limited, it has to end. Okay, so some features is separate legal entity, limited liability, easy transferability, and scope of expansion is always there for a private company. So this is about private company. What are the privileges of private company? It's formed by only two members. Only two members willing to start a company, they can very well start. No need to issue a prospectus. In a public company, compulsorily you need to issue a prospectus. Now, what is prospectus? It's like an advertisement, just informing the public that we are going to issue shares. So, if you are interested, you can subscribe, you can purchase the shares. So that is called as prospectus. It's like an advertisement, either in the form of notice or it's an advertisement given in the newspaper or any special electronic modes. So no need to issue a prospectus. Third one is allotment of shares can be done without receiving the minimum subscription. What is that? Allotment of shares can be done without receiving the minimum subscription. Minimum subscription is a key word. I wanted to prepare a separate slide. So next slide is about minimum subscription. So we will learn about what is minimum subscription. As far as now, you just understand allotment of shares can be done without receiving the minimum subscription also. Then fourth one, can start business on receiving the certificate of incorporation itself. See, generally for a private company, formation is done by a promoter, and then once the registrar applies, approves after application by the promoter, they will issue a certificate called as a certificate of incorporation. So if it is a private company, it can start its business operations, that is, it can start manufacturing, it can start its service, so whatever it is the activity, it can start very well after receiving the certificate of incorporation. Okay, but in case of a public company, it has to wait till it gets the certificate of commencement of business. Okay, so it takes a quite long time. So the fifth point will be only 2 directors, that is minimum 2 directors, maximum 15 directors can be there in the board of directors. Okay, and the sixth one is no need to keep an index of members, that is the list of members that is need to be maintained, that need not be maintained, because anyhow the transferability of shares is not allowed. So only the few members who will transfer the shares to another person will be in the known circle only. So there is no third party involved. So obviously, logically, index of members need not be maintained. So I have told you what is minimum subscription. You will just understand what is minimum subscription in this slide. So previous slide, you remember the third point, allotment of shares can be done without receiving the minimum subscription. Now what is minimum subscription? The minimum amount that in the opinion of the directors must be raised to meet the needs of business operations of the company. As per the directors, whatever is the minimum amount that needs to that is needed for starting a business operations, okay, that is called as minimum subscription. You have the SEBI guidelines. Since minimum subscription is applicable only for public company, it is not applicable for private company, only for public limited company, minimum subscription of capital cannot be less than 90% of the issued amount according to the SEBI guidelines. Now SEBI is Securities Exchange Board of India, which is the regulatory authority of stock markets. So public limited company will list its shares in the stock market. So they have very well told that they have to have not less than 90% of the issued amount. If a delay occurs beyond 8 days from the date of closure of subscription list, the company shall be liable to pay the amount with interest at 15%. Liable to pay, not top pay. Please make sure that you correct it. Liable to pay the amount with interest at 15%. What does it mean? I have an illustration below. I am just reading it. Example, issued capital is 10 lakhs. What is issued capital? The company wants to raise rupees 10 lakhs through issue of shares. Then minimum subscription as per the SEBI guidelines is what? 90%, which is 10 lakhs into 90%. It should not be less than 9 lakhs. So if it is got 9 lakhs, then it can very well proceed with the allotment of shares. Okay, in case of public company, there is no such concept for private company. Okay, if minimum subscription is rupees 8,90,000, after 8 days from the date of closure of subscription list, the company shall be liable to pay the amount with interest at 15%. That is, after 8 days from the date of closure. Say for example, 20th is the date of closure. 20th is the date of closure. Till 28th, there will be time. So even after 28th, the minimum subscription have not crossed 8,90,000. Okay, in that sense, the company has to return this 8,90,000 along with 15% interest for the 8 days. Okay, to the respective prospective investors. So till the 8 lakh is repaid to the investor. So that is called as minimum subscription. So the next part what we are going to learn is the public company. As per Companies Act, a public company is one which members, minimum 7 members and maximum members have no limit. It can be 10,000, it can be 1 lakh, it can be 10 lakhs, anything. So minimum is 7. There is no restriction on transfer of securities. Okay, previously we saw that private company has restriction of transfer of securities, but here no restriction on transfer of securities. It invites a public to subscribe to its securities. Obviously, public company invites the general public to subscribe to its securities, and easily it can be transferred through stock market. You can sell it or you can buy shares of any company. Note, a private company which is a subsidiary of a public company is also treated as a public company. A private company which is a subsidiary of a public company. Subsidiary means the company which is under the control of this particular public company. That is called as holding company. Holding company is like a regulating authority, like management is in the hands of holding company. Under the holding company you will have subsidiary company. So suppose for example you have this holding company, Tata or bank, SBI bank is a holding company. SBI has a lot of subsidiary banks. So even though the subsidiary bank is a private bank, private company, then too, for the sake of understanding what is public company, a private company which is a subsidiary of a public company is also treated as a public company. And the next one is the difference between private and public company, which we will continue in the next class. Okay, thank you class. So till this you have to be very thorough. Thank you.